Lawfare is a tool that has been used by progressives, liberals, very effectively for nearly a century. What we've seen in the last decade and a half is that Muslim groups tied specifically to the Muslim Brotherhood here in the United States have begun to use the same methods to attack our basic liberties. The goal of lawfare, whether used by progressives, the Muslim Brotherhood, or even by the good guys, those of us who would resist and fight against the civilizational jihad that we've seen in many different fora in this country, are the same. One, lawfare affects the law. If you win in court, you get a judgment, you get a decision, and that law affects, as precedent, all the other cases that come along behind it. The second goal of lawfare is to affect the change in individual behavior. When you sue a company, when you sue an institution, when you sue an individual, and those defendants have to expend money, time, and resources and experience the anxiety of litigation, they will change their behavior. The next time they confront that kind of decision, the next time they confront that targeted policy, they will just as likely censor their own behavior to avoid the litigation risk down the road. The third aspect, or third goal of lawfare, used by all of these groups, is to create public awareness. There's nothing more involving than the drama in a courtroom. Two sides pitted against each other, the media gravitates to it, the public begins to discuss it, and you affect policy discourse through the drama of litigation. It is time that those of us who understand that Islamic law, or Sharia, is a common threat doctrine, and it's the common threat doctrine not just of the global jihadists involved in kinetic warfare around the globe. It is also that motivating force that creates the civilizational jihad here in the United States by the Muslim Brotherhood groups, notably the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR. For example, CAIR is proficient at suing any individual who criticizes any of their organizations, the Muslim Brotherhood organizations, Islam or Sharia as the motivating force behind jihad. Any researcher who publishes, writes about the connections between certain Muslim Brotherhood agents operating in and around government will be sued for defamation. Now, oftentimes these lawsuits are ultimately dismissed, but the fact is the effect of that litigation, of that lawfare, is to impose a self-censorship by the researcher, by the writer, by the publisher, who seeks to connect the dots among the Muslim Brotherhood agents and groups that affect civilizational jihad in this country. Those of us at the American Freedom Law Center, Robert Muse, my colleague who co-founded the organization, and here at the Center for Security Policy, where I serve as General Counsel, understand the importance of offering both a defense to those who resist this civilizational jihad, either as researchers, as public pundits, as politicians, but also the requirement to create an offensive arm to lawfare. It's not simply enough to defend those who defend the Constitution. We must bring the battle to them in the courts in the same way that they have brought the battle to us. One of the important aspects of offensive lawfare in the defense of our liberties is to begin to assess how we apply various aspects of litigation to affect policy change in this area, to drive an awareness of the Muslim Brotherhood, to drive the awareness of Sharia as the common threat doctrine. This monograph that we have prepared begins to open that discussion, not just about defensive lawfare, but offensive lawfare. And we hope that it assists litigators and policymakers to understand that this is an arena that we must enter into, because if we don't, the vacuum will simply allow the bad guys to step in and control the battle space.